Welcome to Behind the Sash. I'm Elyse Hudson, the 2015 Newcastle Regional Showgirl. The Land Sydney Showgirl competition aims to find a young woman to act as an ambassador for rural New South Wales, with her role involving many official and informal duties, both at the Sydney Royal Easter Show and during her travels interstate and overseas. For over 50 years, young women across the state have competed for this prestigious role. But the Showgirl competition is not a beauty pageant. Behind the pearls, makeup, pomp and ceremony are passionate young women with drive to benefit their local communities and rural New South Wales as a whole. This week, I'm excited to meet Gabriella Elder Robinson, who was crowned the 2015 Showgirl at the North Coast National Show, which is held in Lismore. Welcome, Gabby. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Elyse.
Yeah, thanks for coming and letting us find out a little bit more about the Lismore Showgirl. Are you technically the Lismore Showgirl or are you North Coast National?
North Coast National.
Why is it called that? I've always wanted to know.
Well, essentially, it's like the regional centre show for the group of the Far North Coast shows.
Okay.
So it's the biggest exhibition out of that group, and we're part of Zone 1 as a whole.
Okay, so instead of being like my show and just calling yourself the Lismore Regional Show, you guys stamped yourself with National. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Because I know
Sounds good, doesn't it?
There's a South Coast National as well somewhere. I actually can't remember where it is, but there's a North Coast National and a South Coast National. I've always gone, why? Why are you guys national shows?
Well, we do bring in like a lot more of the other shows together, and we're a centerpiece for the group finals, for junior judging and the Young Farmers Challenge and stuff like that.
Okay, so
yeah.
As the North Coast National Showgirl, obviously there's a little bit more representation there for you because you're representing not just Lismore, but kind of North Coast as a whole as well. In a way.
Which is fantastic for me because I've been at casino for a long time. I've been in Lismore, I've been in Nimbin, and I've spent a lot of time between Bangalow. So I do represent the North Coast as a whole. I bring that to the role.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Why have you moved around so much as a person?
Well, I went to school in Lismore just because my mother was based between Casino and Lismore, and then I changed schools, went to Casino, and then my mum's originally from Nimbin, and I ended up moving back out to Nimbin and running the real estate with my dad. Okay. And then one of my best friends is from Bangalow.
So your background isn't off a farm, is it?
It is. My stepdad has 2 beef cattle operations just outside of Lismore, which is fantastic. And my grandfather was a banana farmer. So I've got a few things going there. And my degree that I'm doing at the moment is agriculture. And so I've sort of been able to get the best of both worlds on the North Coast.
So is the goal in life to own beef property, or are you hoping for other things?
Well, because my degree is an agriculture business degree, I'm hoping to sort of blend the two. So my trade is real estate, but I would love to be able to blend it into a stock and station role and become, a livestock agent. But I mean, my degree is so broad that I could go into rural financing or rural lending. So I'm still focusing on the rural sector, but not so much as a farmer per se.
Okay, cool. So why did you actually enter Showgirl? What drew you to representing your community in this way? Well,
it's not something that I'd normally pick for myself. I sort of got chased, which I'm so thankful I did now. I just wanted to go in it to test my skills. I'd love to get some more, presentation skills, confidence, networking in my local centre, which is really important for my job, but also for me in my degree, finishing, going ahead. And it's been a great experience, and I've been able to meet a lot of people that are on the Show Society and really put my name out there, which has been fantastic. And then coming back to the show, really getting involved in all agricultural exhibits. Primarily, I was involved in the beef because I grew up leading cattle, but the showgirl role has really enabled me to sort of centre on the tiny tots and the teen showgirls, the competition there, then go into the main ring and then go present ribbons to horses, which is something that I've always dreamt of doing, but never been able to do. And it's just really enabled me to become more involved with the show and see how it can progress forward.
Do you feel any extra pressure given that the current Sydney Royal Showgirl, Ellie Stevens, is the previous
I knew you were going to
winner?
ask this question. I definitely do. But I mean, in saying that, Ellie's really taken me under her wing, which has been fantastic. I've known her beforehand through Generation Ag and what she's done there, which is wonderful. But I definitely feel some pressure. Going to Dubbo with yourself, Elyse, and seeing her talk after the course on the Saturday night was just, oh my gosh, what have I got myself in for? Am I going to be able to represent my region as well as Ellie has done? And I think I'll be able to do that, but Ellie's really given me some skills and some tips to, you know, do the best I can at zone.
So in other words, you have an unfair advantage because you're being coached.
Possibly.
That's what that sounds like to me.
But Ellie's really approachable, and I think that's the main thing that I've got out of seeing her talk is just that she's really approachable, really relatable, and that's what you need to be a great ambassador. Zone 1 is particularly interesting because we're coastal and we're more intensive hobby farming kind of area, and I just think Ellie originally came from Coolah out west, and she's brought her intense agricultural knowledge to the coast and made it work, and now she sees the value in the coastal agricultural industries that we've got here.
Yeah.
Me growing up here, I'm able to expand on that, I suppose, and really push it because it is a trend, the smaller farms and organic farming, niche market farming. That's the new way of the North Coast.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear those different perspectives on it, and I'm hoping I'll be able to nail Ellie down and get an interview with her for Behind the Sash because
she's pretty busy.
She is. She's a very busy girl. You mentioned Generation Ag, that you'd met Ellie through that initially.
Yeah.
What is Generation Ag? Give me the rundown.
Basically, it's a youth group focusing on getting all youth involved for the Far North Coast group. And getting youth involved in the show movement. They've started off doing the Young Farmers Challenge, which was already going down in Sydney. So they've got the state finals down at the Sydney Royal, but it hadn't been here in the North Coast. So what Gen Ag's done, they've put a competition in which gets all the youth involved at a fun level, but has the ability to progress on and show them as they progress what the show's all about, right up to state level. The Generation Ag are having a fundraising dinner at the end of February for the Young Farmers Challenge to send them off to Sydney. So that's a great way for local youth that are interested in the shows to, and just ag in general, to network and come together and meet like-minded people. And then at the same time, Generation Ag is bringing awareness to show societies. So saying, here's youth, here they are, you know, embrace them and get them involved in your show. So I think it's a great movement, and I think that's the way shows need to go to be sustainable in the long run. Definitely.
Getting young people involved is really important. So Generation Ag is the next generation branch for North Coast, isn't it? It's like the...
Correct.
Yeah, and it's like Footprints in Ag, but for the next group up.
Yes. Yeah.
So do you know the details of this dinner? What's, you know... Can I come crash it? And where is it? When is it? How
20th
much?
of February, 6 p.m, McKees Hill Hall, which is halfway between Lismore and Casino. And tickets are $25. And there'll be an auction held, a couple of speakers, and all the profits are going to the Drought Angels. And the rest of it is going to help fundraise for the team to go down to Sydney for the Young Farmers Challenge.
So 20th of February, and I can find all the details somewhere on Facebook?
Yeah, we've got our own Facebook page, I believe. But if not, you can call me directly or message me on Facebook, and I can give you the details from there.
Fantastic. What do you think has been the biggest challenge being Showgirl?
It might sound, I don't know, a bit hard on myself, but actually believing in myself when I first... which sounds bizarre, but when I first entered this, I didn't think that being the person that I was, I'd be able to succeed in such a role, in such an ambassador role, because I have never been in such a role. I've never been school captain or anything, but the biggest challenge for me has been sort of presenting myself with like-minded people in the industry, but conveying what I know, being confident in my knowledge of my area and my region, and being able to convey that to people that don't know much about the North Coast. That's been the most challenging part, but again, the most rewarding. So altogether, I mean, that's the embodiment of the showgirl role, I suppose. And I really think that I'm improving constantly, and I hope to further improve and sort of make the North Coast known for its agricultural industries as opposed to its beaches or whatever else you would like to think, because we really are a strong agricultural sector.
Yeah, definitely. Something that I've experienced as well is that coming from Newcastle, everyone goes, "Oh, Newcastle mining," and
Yeah.
in reality, agriculture is quite significant, and the more the industries that support agriculture are very big in Newcastle, and getting that representation. So I feel you. I totally get where you're coming from. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned that you didn't see yourself as a showgirl, and I suppose we all have
No.
this image of the stereotypical showgirl, the real demure ladylike
Yeah.
ambassador thing. What do you think is the least stereotypical thing about you? What makes you really think that you go, I'm not the showgirl they're looking for. I'm not supposed to be a showgirl.
Well, I think I come to the role, and I think the showgirl stereotype surrounds, a showgirl. She's off 20,000 acres, has been born and bred on the land. But I think because shows are such a historic event of bringing the community together, showgirls today need to sort of, with the show, hand in hand, move forward and become, a modern showgirl. And I think that is where, as agriculture sort of morphs into these smaller farms that I'm seeing here on the North Coast, the showgirl really needs to be aware of what's going on. In my case, it's urban food movements, and really embrace that. And if you don't wear an akubra, that's totally fine. And I think that's where I come in. I'm sort of the modern, interested in agriculture, but seeing it as in a marketing perspective, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So breaking the stereotype away from the 20,000 acre girl off the land, where a girl from the coast that understands agriculture is able to talk about it and represent smaller industries. Well, in the long term, that's what I want to do. I want to be the intermediary between the farmer and what people see on their plate. I don't know what I'll be doing exactly, but I'll be somewhere in the middle, valuing land or giving out rural loans or something along those lines, selling livestock even, I don't know, but I'll be somewhere in the middle there because that's where my interests lie.
Yeah, and that's a really important role to play, and it's something that would be nice to see a broader representation of at our shows. And it's a challenge I think all shows have, is representing the breadth of the agricultural industry.
Well, I think that's where the misconception lies too, because a lot of people go, oh, well, farmers just go to those shows. Just farmers, where we need people in the middle saying, hey, it's not just farmers. You can be involved, but you don't necessarily have to grow the produce. You can be involved in marketing of the produce if that's the way you want to go. And I think shows play an important role in advertising the agricultural industry as a whole in that respect. Yeah, not so much getting everyone in, but like it's 1 day a year, 2 days a year, but really it matters in the long run.
So on the topic of shows and North Coast National, what's the big highlights? If you could give me, if I go to North Coast National show, what's the one thing I can't miss when I go?
Well, we've got, you've got your normal, I personally like the wood shop. It's a very traditional exhibition at the show, but it's always exciting. The North Coast National in particular, because we're on the coast, we've got a really good fine arts section in the pavilion. We've got an Persa art exhibition, which is on the Wednesday night usually, and that draws a huge crowd. And then also you've got the beef section, which is surprising that it's so big in Lismore. But we have a huge steer section. This year there was over 80 steers on the Thursday night. And all they have an auction, the steer auction. So if you've never been involved with beef, that's definitely something you want to sit down and watch, because the auction is, high intensity, exciting, not what you'd normally think. And the steers go off to the slaughterhouse in the casino abattoirs, and they get judged on the hook. So that's of particular interest to me. And there's also the goats, which are interesting. If you're not involved with the goat industry, that's one that's going up and up and up, and the price for goats is quite high at the moment. And also the ring events at Lismore are quite good. So in the past, we've had Man from Snowy River type exhibitions on in the main ring. This past year, we had Speedway and we had fireworks. So there's something for everyone.
Wow, it sounds like North Coast National is a busy show.
It is.
Thriving as well?
Yeah, I mean, the past year we have had struggle, like any show, with the gate numbers. So people coming through the front gate, and I think the costs that come with putting on a sideshow alley are bringing up the ticket prices. So that's a challenge that all shows, I think, have to sort of come up against, and that's where we need to get innovative and sort of bring the focus away from sideshow alley and back into agricultural exhibitions. So although it's consistent, our entry levels, there is room to improve.
Yeah, there always is, and shows are ever evolving, just like the towns they represent. Final question. Is there anything else you'd like people to know about you or Lismore or the North Coast National Show?
Well, I'd like them to know that, not particularly about me, but just about Showgirl in general, that if you were to meet me, you'd be surprised that I'd have gone into such a competition like this and done well. And I just think that's a testament to the kind of competition Showgirl is, that you can no longer put a stereotype on Showgirl, that you're judged on your commitment to your local area, your local show, your general knowledge and your passion. And whatever you're passionate about, that doesn't matter. As long as the judges see that. And I think it's important that we keep the Showgirl movement going. Yeah, and I think for me, I think that's what, if anyone needed to know that, something else about me, that's what they need to know.
Well, knowing you and knowing the Showgirl movement, it does not surprise me that you have done well in this competition. And I do wish you all the best at your zone competition at the end of February.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on Behind the Sash. I really appreciate you making the time out of your busy life to come and talk to us a little bit about the North Coast National Show, their Showgirl, and who you are as a well-rounded individual.
My pleasure, Elyse. Thank you.